Hi, and welcome to Bridgewater State University. My name is Matt Kiskowski, and I'm an academic advisor in the Academic Achievement Center here at BSU. I'm going to be walking you through a brief presentation about advising at BSU. We're going to cover a lot of information here, but the most important thing to remember is that your advisor is here to support you. If you have questions, any questions at all, reach out to us. It's our job to help. Okay, let's get on with the show. There are a few goals I want to accomplish during this presentation. First, I'll introduce you to the advising team in the AAC. You'll be assigned an advisor in the AAC for at least your first semester, so this will give you a chance to see who you might be working with. I'll also give you a little bit of information about what advisors do and how we can help you while you're here. Next, I'll cover some general graduation requirements that all students need to complete. That'll give you a sense of what you need to do in order to get your fancy hat and diploma. Finally, we'll cover some information about how to search and how to register for classes. After watching this presentation and reviewing the resources we have for you online, you should be able to set up your schedule and register for classes for your first semester. Now I know this whole mess of Handsome can get a little distracting, so I'm going to turn off my camera for the rest of the presentation, but you should still hear my voice as we go on. All right, let's get to some introductions.
These fine and friendly folks are the advisors in the Academic Achievement Center. One of these smiling faces will be assigned to be your advisor for at least your first semester here at BSU. Your advisor should be assigned during the second week of the semester. They should send you an introduction email shortly after that, so keep your eyes peeled. So what does your advisor actually do? How can they help you? Well, first and foremost, your advisor is here to support you. That support can take a lot of different forms. One of the big things we do is help students understand their degree requirements, that is, what you need to do in order to graduate. Another thing we do is help students find the best major for them. That might mean helping undecided students explore all the different options for majors at BSU, but it can also mean helping a student in a management major decide whether something like chemistry or sociology might be a better fit. We also help connect students to campus resources. BSU is full of dedicated faculty, staff, and students who are here to help you succeed. But sometimes it can be hard to know where to go when you have a question. That's what your advisor is for. If you ever have a question about BSU or need some kind of assistance during your time here, you can go to your advisor for help. We don't have all the answers, but we have a ton of connections. So if you have a problem, we can almost always point you in the right direction to find a solution. Oh, also, many advisors keep stashes of candy in their offices, so stop by if you need to feed your sweet tooth. Of course, the big goal that advisors have is to help you graduate from college. So with that in mind, let's talk a little bit about what you have to do to earn your diploma. Now, what if you think of your degree as a pie? Pie. Okay, there are two special ingredients in this pie: course credits and your GPA. Almost every class you take at BSU will earn you credits. You will need to earn at least 120 credits to be able to graduate. Most courses give you 3 credits, so you'll need to take about 40 courses to graduate. Your GPA is your grade point average. When you finish a class, you get a grade. We combine that grade with all the other grades you've gotten to find your grade point average. You need to earn at least a 2.0 GPA or a C average by the time you graduate. This depends a bit on your major because some majors require a higher GPA to graduate. So anyway, credits and GPA are the ingredients that make the pie. Then we slice that pie into 3 big pieces. Yes, 3 juicy, delicious, sweet. Sorry. Right. The 3 pieces of your pie-shaped degree are 1. The core curriculum, 2. Your major requirements, and 3. Electives. If you earn 120 credits with a minimum 2.0 GPA and complete your core curriculum, major requirements, and electives, that's how you get the fancy hat. So let's talk about what those core, major, and elective requirements actually look like. First, the core curriculum. Everyone has to complete the core curriculum, no matter what their major is. It's a set of common requirements like English 101 and 102, math, logical reasoning, the first and second year seminars, and distribution requirements like humanities and global culture classes. Now, the majority of classes you take in your first year will be core classes. As you move forward, you'll start to concentrate more on major requirements and electives. Sometimes people are a little bummed out about core classes, but there are some good reasons to take them. Number one, they'll introduce you to different subjects that you might not otherwise encounter, and help you make connections between things like computer science and filmmaking, or biology and philosophy. They also help you develop the kinds of critical thinking skills that employers are looking for from new graduates. And they help build a common vocabulary and understanding that you'll use to connect to the wider community at BSU and beyond. So don't just try to get through your core curriculum. Try to seek out courses that engage your interests. That way you'll get the most out of it. Next, major requirements. Everyone has to declare a major in order to graduate. A major gives you the opportunity to focus on one area of study to get a really in-depth understanding of it. You'll have a good general knowledge of lots of areas from the core curriculum, but you'll get some expert training in your major subject. BSU has over 80 different majors to choose from accounting and finance to theater arts. Whatever your major is, it should be something you're interested in. You'll be taking a lot of courses in that area, so you'll want to be sure that you'll be motivated to actually learn about it. Different majors have different sets of courses and requirements to complete, but you can expect to take a minimum of 10 classes in your major area. Some majors also have GPA requirements, so you need to make sure you keep up with your grades too. You can check the BSU catalog or your DegreeWorks degree audit for details about all the different major requirements. You may already have a major, or you may still be trying to decide on one. Either way is fine. If you need help choosing a major, have a talk with your academic advisor to start the process. The last piece of the pie is electives. Hello, electives! Electives are any other courses you take to earn you college credits. Electives are important for a couple of reasons. First, remember you need to earn 120 credits to graduate. Even after you complete all your core requirements and all your major requirements, you may not be up to 120 credits. You take elective classes to make up the difference. Second, electives give you an opportunity to explore other interests beyond the core and beyond your major requirements. Throw in an archery class with that senior seminar. Now, sometimes electives can be tricky. When you can choose any class, it can be hard to know where to begin. To give yourself a bit more focus, you might consider taking on a minor. A minor is like a major, except you don't have to complete quite so many classes. Instead of taking 10 or more classes in a subject area, you might have to take about 6 to get a minor. Either way, electives are an important part of your graduation requirements, so don't forget about them. So, now you know a little bit about what you have to do in order to graduate. And if graduation is the goal, the first step is to register for your first semester classes. Let's talk about how that works. Before you can actually register for classes, there are 3 things you need to do to prepare. First, you need to complete writing and math placements. If you've already done this, great! If you haven't, you should complete those placements as soon as possible. You'll need to submit an essay online to complete the writing placement. For math placement, you can take a placement test created by the math department. You can also submit your math SAT scores for review, but the placement test tends to give more accurate results. In the upcoming slides, I'll explain how your placement tests affect the English and math classes you should explore next semester. Second, you need to understand how to use the online registration tools available. You'll be searching for your classes and registering for those classes online using InfoBear. We'll talk more about InfoBear and the search and register system shortly. Finally, you need to make a plan. That is, you need to know what classes you should be taking in your first semester. In the email you received from the AAC, you should have received some suggestions on what classes to target in your search. There are also some standard classes all students should complete in their first year. I'll give you more information about those so you can put together a schedule that makes sense. Sound good? Great, let's go. First, writing placement. All students are required to complete an essay for placement in English classes. You can see the essay prompt and submit your work at the website listed on the new student checklist from admissions. Submit your essay as soon as possible. You'll delay your registration if you wait too long. Once your essay is scored, you'll be placed into one of 3 English classes for your first semester. English 101, Writing Rhetorically, is a standard college composition course. English 101E is also a Writing Rhetorically course. The difference is that it has English 144 attached to it. English 144 is a one-credit tutorial designed to provide additional support to students as they take English 101 through one-on-one tutoring and small group book clubs. If you're placed into English 101E, you also have to register for a paired section of English 144. English 102, Writing Rhetorically with Sources, is the second level of college composition after English 101. If you place into English 102, you can skip English 101 and start with English 102. Another reason English placement is important is because it also affects your placement in the first-year seminar. First-year seminar classes are offered in a variety of different subject areas, and you can take any one you want. They will all have a 199 course number. They are also writing intensive and focused on the development of critical reading and writing skills. If you place into English 101E and English 144, you should complete those courses in your first semester. Then you can plan to take the first-year seminar in your second semester when you're fully prepared for that. If you place into English 101 or English 102, you can take the first-year seminar with whichever course you take in your first semester. So that's English placement. Now on to math placement. All students at BSU have to take at least one math course. Awesome, right? Right. Everyone loves math. Which math course or courses you need depends on your major and your math placement. Currently, the best way to take care of your math placement is to take the placement test created by the math department. You'll be placed in a math class based on your results from that test. Use the link on the new student checklist from admissions for more details on the math placement test, including instructions on how to sign up. The link is also available on the AAC's new Student Advising and Registration website. You're also welcome to submit your math SAT scores for review, but the placement test tends to give more accurate results. Okay, once you've completed your English and math placement, it's time to learn how to use the online registration system. To help you learn, we've developed a website with a lot of useful resources and instructions. The address is listed on this slide and was also included in the email you received from the AAC. Some of the things you'll find on the website include video tutorials that show you how to use InfoBear in your DegreeWorks audit, lists of paired sections for people who need to take classes like English 101E and English 144, suggestions of courses to target for your first semester based on your major, block schedule templates to help you piece together your daily and weekly schedule, a glossary of important terms for when you run into academic jargon you don't recognize. You can even watch video introductions from some of our advisors to see who you might be working with. We recommend you review this website before you register and then refer back to it as you're using InfoBear in your degree audit to build your schedule. The more you can do on your own, the better. The steps you need to follow to get registered for your first semester at BSU are listed out on the website. But let's preview them now so you know what to expect. I'm going to cover some important topics over the next few slides to help you get ready. We'll talk about how many classes you should plan to take in your first semester. I'll help you figure out which classes you should target based on your placement and core and major requirements. Then we'll look at some considerations you should make when building your schedule, like how many classes you should plan for each day. Finally, I'll cover some last resources you can use to get yourself registered. So first, how many classes should you take in your first semester? Well, the number of classes you take each semester is a personal decision that you'll want to make based on a few different factors. One important thing you might consider when thinking about how many classes to take is when do you want to graduate? When most people think of a bachelor's degree, they think of it as a 4-year degree. If you want to graduate on a 4-year timeline, then you should plan to take about 15 credits or 5 classes each semester. That adds up to 30 credits per year or 120 credits over 4 years. Another consideration is full-time status. You may need to be a full-time student to meet certain financial aid, athletic, or visa obligations. In order to be a full-time student, you need to take at least 12 credits, or 4 3-credit classes, each semester. Now, depending on your circumstances, you may not be able to take 15 or 12 credits in a semester. If you have to work 50 hours a week, plopping a full-time class schedule on top of it might not be the best idea. If you take fewer than 12 credits in a semester, you're considered a part-time student. And that's totally fine. You just need to make sure you know how that might affect things like financial aid and your graduation timeline. If you have questions about how many classes to take, feel free to talk to your advisor about it for a more detailed discussion.
Okay, this next one is a big slide, so buckle up and sharpen your note-taking pencils. Once you decide how many classes to take, the next decision is which classes to take. Well, there are 5 classes that you should complete by the end of your first year at BSU. Those are English 101, English 102, the first year seminar, math, and logical reasoning. So starting with those courses is a good idea, but it's a little more complicated than plugging all 5 of those courses into your first semester schedule. So let's talk about each requirement separately for a second. First, English. I mentioned earlier that based on your placement essay, you could start out in English 101E and 144, or English 101, or English 102. You should plan to register for whichever class matches your placement in your first semester. One note here, English 101 is a prerequisite for English 102. That means you have to take or place out of English 101 before you can take English 102. You can't take them both at the same time. So if you're going to take English 101E or English 101 in your first semester, you'll plan to take English 102 in your second semester at BSU. Next is first year seminar. If you placed into English 101 or English 102, you should also take a first year seminar course in your first semester. As I said before, first year seminars all have a course number of 199, so you can look out for that. If you placed into English 101E and English 144, then wait until your second semester to take your first year seminar. Then comes math. Bum ba-dum bum bum. I know a lot of you out there feel a little squeamish when it comes to math, and that's fine, I understand. But fight the urge to put off math until later. You really should take a math course in your first semester at BSU if at all possible. Which course you take is based on your placement and your major. You should have more specifics on that in the email from the AAC, but if it doesn't make sense to you, you can check with an advisor before you choose a math class. And hey, we get it, math is tricky. That's why we have a lot of great tutoring support in the AAC and on campus specifically for math classes. Remember, we're here to help. Now, in addition to English, first year seminar, and math, you can also target 2 other areas. One area is major courses. In particular, it's a great idea to take introductory courses in your major area in your first semester. You'll find a resource on the new student advising and registration site called First Year Courses by Major. You can take a look at that to see some of the major courses we recommend you take in your first year. The other area is core courses. As I said earlier, everyone needs to complete the core curriculum to graduate. It's a good idea to get started on it early. If you need to fill out your schedule, it's a good idea to take a look at things in the core. A couple of good requirements to consider here are logical reasoning and public speaking. The logical reasoning requirement has to be completed in your first year. If you placed into either Math 090 or Math 095, however, we recommend you wait until you finish that math course before taking logical reasoning. The logical reasoning requirement can be satisfied by any of 3 different classes: Math 180, Comp 111, or Crit 111. If you're a math major, you'll want to take Math 180, Transition to Advanced Mathematics. Math 180 is also recommended, but not required, for computer science and physics majors. Math 180 does have a prerequisite, though. You have to have completed Math 161, Single Variable Calculus 1, or take it at the same time, so be aware of that. Another option is Comp 111, Logic and Computers. Although it's a computer science course, computer science majors are not required to take this. Still, it's a good option for any students who are interested in coding and programming and the logic that underlies them. The third option is Crit 111, Foundations of Logical Reasoning. Most students will end up taking this course to satisfy the logical reasoning requirement. Another good requirement to consider is public speaking. There are 2 different courses you can take to satisfy the public speaking requirement. Com 102, Public Speaking, is a traditional public speaking course. In it, you'll do things like write speeches and perform them for your classmates. The other option, Theater 210, Oral Interpretation, is similar. In that class, you'll perform things like speeches, monologues from plays, and poems. The big difference between them is that you write your own material in Com 102, and the material is usually written for you in Theater 210. If you're a communications major or a management or marketing major, you should take Com 102. Otherwise, you can take whichever class you prefer. If you still aren't able to fill out your schedule from among those choices, you can also look at the core distribution requirements. Core distribution requirements are things like humanities, fine and performing arts, global cultures, etc. You can see a full list of your core distribution requirements on your DegreeWorks degree audit, and you can search for individual requirements there and with the InfoBear course search. If you need to round out your schedule, distribution requirements are a good place to look. So, to recap, the courses you should aim for when you're building your first semester schedule are English, based on your placement, Math, based on your placement and major, first year seminar, if you place into English 101 or 102, major coursework, and additional core requirements like logical reasoning, public speaking, and distribution courses to fill out your schedule.
Now that you have an idea of what courses to look for, the next question is, how do you put it all together? One of the nice things about college is that you get a lot of choice in that decision. I can give you some general guidelines to think about though as you're sorting it out. First, it's important to know a little bit about how to read the schedule at BSU. For example, when you're looking up courses in InfoBear, you can see the days and times that classes are offered, as well as the class locations. In the course search results, you'll see a bar with different letters to note the different days of the week, including Saturday and Sunday. Any of the days that are highlighted in blue are days when the class will be scheduled to meet. In two of the examples on this page, one class is scheduled to meet Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10:10 to 11 a.m. The other class is scheduled to meet Tuesdays and Thursdays from 3:25 to 4:40 p.m. The third example has no days highlighted in blue. In that case, the class is planned as an asynchronous online class, which means it will have no scheduled meeting times. Instead, you're responsible for reviewing the work and completing the assignments on your own time. Asynchronous classes offer great flexibility, but your time management game has to be strong to keep up with them. Definitely pay attention to this as you're picking out your classes. In terms of timing, each 3-credit class will typically meet about 3 hours per week. If a class meets 3 days a week, it will meet for about an hour each day. If a class meets 2 days a week, it'll meet for about an hour and a half each day. Some classes only meet once a week for about 3 hours, too. Finally, be sure to keep an eye on the buildings and rooms listed for the classes. Many classes will have a standard building name and room number listed. Those classes are scheduled to be held in the classroom. Other classes may have the words online or web listed for the building or room locations. If you see online or web listed as a location, the class is scheduled as an online class.
There are a few other things to be aware of as you're reviewing classes and building a schedule too. First, we recommend that you build a 4 or 5-day schedule for your first semester. I know it's tempting to try and cram all your classes into Tuesdays and Thursdays so you can have Monday, Wednesday, and Friday class free. The flip side of that, however, is that your Tuesdays and Thursdays will be jam-packed. That might mean you don't even get a break to grab lunch during the day. Trust me, it's not easy to give a presentation in your public speaking class while you're also trying to cram a slice of pizza in your mouth. It also might lead to a situation where you have 4 midterm exams on the same day. Not ideal. If you spread out your classes, some on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, some on Tuesday, Thursday, you'll have a more balanced schedule that will give you more time to manage all the work you have to do for your classes. When you're lining up your classes, you should also try to give yourself breaks throughout the day so you have time to decompress and prepare between classes. We especially recommend this for students who had learning accommodations in high school and might be working with student accessibility services here at BSU. For example, students who are eligible for extended testing time should not have back-to-back classes in case a test in their first class overlaps with their next class. Another thing to be aware of is that classes that begin after 4 p.m. are considered evening classes and have a different billing structure. If you're taking more than 12 credits and one of your classes is an evening class, you'll have to pay extra for that class. That can mean additional tuition and fees in the thousands of dollars sometimes, so we want to make sure you're aware of the extra cost. You can recognize evening classes because their section numbers will have a CS in them. For example, English 101-CS1 is an evening class. Another group of classes that have extra costs are online classes offered through the School of Continuing Studies. These classes have CO in the section number. For example, Math 110-CO1 is an online continuing studies class. Online continuing studies classes at BSU have an additional $75 fee associated with them. If you're a student in the honors program and you'd like to take an honors class, you can look for classes that have section numbers beginning with H. You can also search specifically for honors courses using InfoBear. Finally, if you're a student athlete, it's recommended that you set up your schedule so your classes end by 1 p.m. each day if possible. That way you can fit in your practice schedule too. You may want to follow up with the athletic director or your coach about this as well. So if you follow all that advice, you might end up with a schedule that looks something like this. This student has 4 of the 5 required first-year courses, English 101, Math 110, a first-year seminar, and a logical reasoning course. He rounded out his schedule with Intro to Sociology, which is a core distribution course and which may count towards his major depending on what his major is. And if you look at the days and times, you can see that he has 2 classes that meet Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, 2 that meet Tuesdays and Thursdays, and 1 asynchronous class, so he has things spread out well. Obviously, your schedule won't look exactly like this, but it's a good template to work off of as you're considering your choices.
So what now? Well, let's talk about next steps. You've already finished step 1, reviewing this PowerPoint. Nice work, and congratulations on putting up with my voice this whole time. Step 2 is to review the guide for searching and registering for classes. There's a link to the guide in the advising welcome email you received from the Academic Achievement Center. That'll give you instructions on how to use InfoBear to search and register for classes. There are also video tutorials to help you with InfoBear available on the new Student Advising and Registration website. Step 3 is to review the recommended courses listed in your email from the Academic Achievement Center. Those are the classes we think it would be good for you to try to take in your first semester. Then, step 4, register. Look up the classes online and put as many as you can on your schedule. Don't forget to visit our website for helpful registration resources and video tutorials. The link is on the screen, and it's also in the email you received from the AAC. If you're having trouble using InfoBear, understanding your degree audit, or just figuring out what classes to look for, then take a look at the website. You're sure to find at least some of the answers you're looking for there. If you can't put together a full schedule, don't worry. You'll have a chance to follow up with an advisor before the start of the semester to finalize your schedule. That's what step 5 is. To schedule that appointment, you can use the link that was sent to you in the email from the AAC. And that is just about that. Thank you for following along with me. I hope I was able to help you understand some things about advising at BSU and how to set up your first semester schedule. Please visit the new Student Advising and Registration website for additional resources as you put together your schedule. And if you need more help, you can always reach out to us by email. Good luck as you set up your schedule. We're all looking forward to working with you soon.